Novavax Covid-19 Vaccine vs Merck Covid-19 Vaccine. This video is part 5 and 6 of 7-part series of Road to Vaccine Manufacturers, brought to you by HealthyRN Ways. Videos will be posted every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel to see the part 1, 2, 3, 4 series. See the link below for more information. Novovax Covid-19 vaccine is the 5th manufacturers who are doing a clinical trials for the Covid-19 vaccines. Merck Covid-19 vaccine is the 6th manufacturer who are also doing the clinical trials. Merck stopped its Covid-19 vaccine development, so its vaccine candidates will not be made available. Here is a peek of Merck Covid-19 vaccine. Novavax is a Maryland-based biotechnology firm that is taking a traditional approach to developing a vaccine against the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. The company began a Phase 3 trial of its vaccine candidate, NVX-CoV-2373, in the United Kingdom in September and a second Phase 3 trial in the United States and Mexico in December. These two late-stage trials will enroll a combined total of about 45,000 participants. While this puts Novavax behind its competitors, initial results of its vaccine trials shows promising. How it works: the Novovax vaccine uses a custom-made spike protein that mimics the natural spike protein in the novel coronavirus. Novavax has for years worked on developing its recombinant nanoparticle technology, and created the first COVID-19 vaccine using this method in the spring. By summer, early clinical trials showed that the vaccine appeared to be safe, and more advanced trials entered the planning stage in the United States and other countries. The two-dose vaccine works by introducing a protein that prompts an antibody response, which blocks the ability of future coronavirus to bind to human cells and prevents infection. The protein is combined with Novavax's matrix M adjuvant, which is important in enhancing the immune response elicited by the protein antigen. How effective is it? Early vaccine trial results published by Novavax revealed a strong antibody response to the vaccine in animals. By August 2020, early human trials showed strong antibody responses with no serious adverse events and few side effects. In late January 2021, Novavax announced that a preliminary analysis of data from its UK Phase 3 trial showed that the vaccine was 89.3% effective and included protection from the UK variant B.1.1.7. The company also announced that the vaccine was 60% effective in a Phase 2b clinical trial in South Africa and included protection from the South African variant B.1.351. Results from all late-stage clinical trials are expected in 2021. In Novavax's trial, participants will not be directly exposed to the virus, but instead researchers will use a natural infection approach. The challenge will then be determining whether the vaccine or other protective measures like masking or social distancing offered the most protection. When will it be available? Novavax's vaccine candidate is generating a lot of interest because early animal study data showed that it was highly effective at preventing replication of the coronavirus in nasal passages. It is an important development for COVID vaccines since it may help reduce both infection and transmission rates. Although, this has not yet been established in human studies. Novavax is behind its competitors when it comes to clinical trials, so even if continues to do well in trials, the vaccine may not be available until late 2021. The company has not released any estimates on distribution dates yet. The company itself also faces a significant challenge since 2019 was a difficult year for Novavax. Science magazine reported that the company sold some of its manufacturing facilities and has to rely on more contractors to manufacture many of its vaccines. This could result in a delay in production. No information has been provided yet about the price of the vaccine. Who can get the Novavax vaccine? Like other COVID-19 vaccine candidates, the Novavax vaccine has been tested in adults aged 18 and up. The company has not provided updates on trials in children and teens. Information hasn't been provided yet on concerns for specific groups. Regardless of study group populations, who can get COVID vaccines will largely be a regulatory decision made by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA. Eligibility during distribution will then be determined at the state level and by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The CDC is leading vaccination efforts, and all orders of the COVID-19 vaccine, regardless of the manufacturer, will go through the agency. The CDC is overseeing the distribution of vaccines too. CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP, has made recommendations on how to prioritize vaccine supplies. Although little information is available on the specifics of when everyone will receive the vaccines and where they can get it, state and local health departments will be coordinating efforts to distribute doses of the vaccines as they become available. The vaccine should be available both in physician offices and retail locations like pharmacies that administer other vaccines. Once the vaccine is available, any doses purchased by the US government will be free to its citizens. While the vaccine itself is free, the facility or agency that offers the vaccine may charge a fee for administration. Public health programs and insurance plans are expected to reimburse patients for any costs associated with COVID-19 vaccination, but no information has been made available yet. Side effects and adverse events. No serious adverse events were reported in early trials of the Novovax vaccine, but more information will be available after the late-stage trial results are published. In Phase 3, adverse events occurred at low levels and were balanced between vaccine and placebo groups. Funding and development. Novavax has been awarded more than $2 billion globally for its efforts to develop a COVID-19 vaccine, with $1.6 billion from the US government alone. The US funds were given as a part of Operation Warp Speed and from the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA. BARDA is a program that falls under the US Department of Health and Human Services. That program and Operation Warp Speed have sought to speed up how quickly vaccines to fight COVID-19 can be developed and approved for use. Novavax says its COVID-19 vaccine is 90% effective. Pharmaceutical company Novavax just completed its Phase 3 clinical trial in the UK. The company says its vaccine is nearly 90% effective at preventing COVID-19. The vaccine was much less effective against the South African strain of the virus. Pharmaceutical company Novavax recently shared results of its Phase 3 clinical trial in the UK. Its vaccine is nearly 90% effective at preventing COVID-19. Novavax revealed in a press release last week that its vaccine prevented 9 out of 10 cases of COVID-19 in its clinical trial in the UK. The vaccine was also effective against B1.1.7, the highly infectious strain of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, that has been heavily circulating in the UK. However, the Novavax vaccine had much lower effectiveness against the South African strain, B1.351. In a study of 4,400 participants in South Africa, the vaccine was only 49% effective. When the data only accounted for participants who did not have HIV, the efficacy increased to 60%. The Novavax vaccine, aka NVX-CoV 2373, is the first vaccine to demonstrate not only high clinical efficacy against COVID-19 but also significant clinical efficacy against both the rapidly emerging UK and South Africa variants. NVX-CoV 2373 has the potential to play an important role in solving this global public health crisis. We look forward to continuing to work with our partners, collaborators, investigators and regulators around the world to make the vaccine available as quickly as possible. The Novavax vaccine is currently in Phase 3 clinical trials in the US. What this means for you: the Novavax COVID-19 vaccine has a high efficacy rate overall. It's currently in Phase 3 clinical trials in the US and is currently not authorized for use in America. If it is approved, it could be another vaccine available to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. How the Novavax vaccine works: the Novavax vaccine works differently than the two vaccines currently approved for use in the US. Those vaccines, made by Pfizer BioNTech and Moderna, use a newer form of technology known as messenger RNA, mRNA. Those vaccines encode a part of the spike protein that's found on the surface of SARS-CoV-2. The mRNA vaccines use pieces of the encoded protein to create an immune response from your body. As a result, you develop antibodies to the virus. The Novavax vaccine uses an insect cell line. The cells were infected with a different kind of virus, called a baculovirus, and created spike proteins similar to the spikes on the surface of SARS-CoV-2. The vaccine contains several spike nanoparticles, which attract immune cells. Those immune cells create antibodies to the spike protein that can help prevent future COVID-19 infections. The way the Novavax vaccine works is not that different from our influenza vaccine. The parts are just slightly different. The Novavax vaccine is stable at normal refrigerator temperatures, making it easier to store and administer than the currently approved vaccines, a big plus for distribution. Novavax vaccine safety information. Novavax hasn't yet released safety information on its vaccine or given details about side effects. The company said in its press release that the vaccine cannot cause COVID-19 and cannot replicate inside the body. Novavax has not given details yet about potential side effects, but said that its safety database showed that severe, serious, and medically attended adverse events occurred at low levels and were balanced between vaccine and placebo groups. More research needed. While preliminary data sounds promising, stresses that there's not a lot of information available about the vaccine at this point. They have not even published preprint data. The scrutiny that the data needs to undergo hasn't been done by me or the scientific community. The lower efficacy against the South African strain of the virus is concerning, adding, "We need more details about that, including details about whether the vaccine performs better in younger or older people." The vaccine's efficacy against the South African strain of the virus, but is eager to learn more about the vaccine. But, overall, the vaccine is still highly effective at preventing severe disease with COVID-19, that's what matters. The end goal, he says, is to turn COVID-19 into a cold. If we can get several effective vaccines, we can hopefully get there. An overview of the Merck COVID-19 vaccine. January 25, 2021. Merck announced that it will stop developing its two COVID-19 vaccine candidates, V591 and V590. The company stated in a press release that the immune responses were inferior to those seen following natural infection and those reported for other SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19 vaccines. Merck, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, focused its early efforts in the fight against the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, on looking for ways to treat people who were sick. The US company also worked on two vaccine candidates for COVID-19 but announced on January 25 that it will stop developing them due to a lack of immune responses in trials. Merck continues to focus on its drug candidates for treating COVID-19, including an antiviral medication. The discontinued vaccine candidates are viral vector vaccines that use modified versions of other viruses to deliver instructions to cells. The company began enrolling participants in an early-stage clinical trial for COVID-19 vaccine candidate V591 in late August and an early-stage clinical trial for candidate V590 in late October. Merck was expected to share some preliminary results from the vaccine trials in early 2021 but instead announced the end of their development. Merck plans to still submit its studies of these candidates for publication in a peer-reviewed journal. How it works: Merck's vaccine candidate V591 is a recombinant vaccine that uses a live virus, measles, vaccine as the delivery method for transporting a small piece of the coronavirus genetic code to create an immune response. Recombinant viruses are genetically engineered viruses, which can be designed to act as vaccines when antigen genes are added. V591 was launched by Merck with the purchase of Themis, a private company focused on immunity and vaccines that Merck acquired in May 2020. Merck collaborated with the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, IAVI, on the development of its other vaccine candidate, V590. V590 uses recombinant vesicular stomatitis virus, RVSV, technology, the same that was used by Merck to develop a vaccine to fight the Ebola virus. For this particular vaccine, Merck was using a common animal virus that has been changed to use certain proteins on the virus that help launch an immune response to the novel coronavirus. How effective is it? There is no data released yet on how the Merck vaccines performed, but the company announced in a press release that both V590 and V591 were generally well tolerated, but the immune responses were inferior to those seen following natural infection and those reported for other SARS-CoV-2, Covid-19 vaccines. Who can get the Merck vaccine? Merck enrolled 260 participants 18 and older, grouping them by those 18 to 55 and those older than 55, for the V591 trial. Merck's enrollment for the V590 trial was also 18 and older with similar age groupings. Merck is no longer developing vaccine candidates. If vaccine candidates from other companies are authorized, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, is likely to dictate who should receive the vaccine and when. Although little information is available on the specifics of when everyone will receive the vaccines against COVID-19 and where they can get it. Funding and development. Merck has received more than $38 million in funding from the U.S. government for its COVID-19 vaccine program as part of Operation Warp Speed, a public-private partnership initiated by the U.S. government to facilitate and accelerate the development of a COVID-19 vaccine, and from the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA. Merck stopped its COVID-19 vaccine development, so its vaccine candidates will not be made available. Even Merck vaccine will not be available. We still have 5 more manufacturers running the race for the road to COVID-19 vaccine. Which vaccine are taking or have taken? Whatever vaccine is available in your area, make sure to get your shot. We will never know when this pandemic will end. Wishing you and your family the best of health. Keep safe everyone. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel to see the part 1, 2, 3, 4 series of Part 7 series of Road to Vaccine Manufacturers. See the link below. Any suggestion or any comment on this series, write down below. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video. Ma salama.